Working at Continental again, and they're hiring for production operators at $24.62 per hour, which grows to $28.97 per hour within 3 years. Skilled trade positions now start at $33.36 per hour, with opportunities to make more based on certifications. Continental also has salary jobs available and great benefits, plus medical and prescription costs at very low premiums. Dental, vision, and life insurance are offered at no premium cost to the associates, with increased bonuses and vacation for new hires. To learn more or apply, go to continentaljobs.com with keyword Lincoln. Come work at Continental today.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com.
On the internet.
KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
The Omaha Supernovas are back in action this Saturday, April 20th versus the San Diego Mojo at CHI Health Center in Omaha. The Mullen Motors pregame show with Derek Pearson and Renee Saunders starts at 5 p.m. with first serve at 6. Make sure to tune in to the next Ag Appraisal and Realty postgame show right after the match ends. Catch all the action on your flagship station, 93.7 The Ticket, and statewide on the Supernovas Radio Network. Lincoln, you wanted more sweet and spice in your life, and now you've got it. At Wings and Rings, their brand new Hot Honey has all of Lincoln buzzing. Try their one-of-a-kind house-made sauce on the brand new Hot Honey Chicken Sandwich or their Hot Honey Shrimp and Slaw. And of course you can get it on the traditional, boneless, or smoked wings that have made Wings and Rings your go-to neighborhood spot. Hot Honey was supposed to be gone on April 1st, but they're extending it indefinitely. So stop by Wings and Rings at one of their 2 Lincoln locations today, on O Street and on Village Lane.
You never think cancer will happen to you. I smoked for over 40 years. My doctor recommended that I get annual lung cancer screening. They were able to catch my cancer at stage 1. It's never too late to quit. Even if you're still smoking, you need to ask your doctor about annual lung cancer screening. Just 30 minutes a year could save your life.
Call the Nebraska Tobacco Quit Line, 1-800-QUIT-NOW, 1-800-784-8669. Paid for by Tobacco Free Nebraska. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Welcome in to We Talk Facts with 9-year NBA veteran and Nebraska Basketball Hall of Famer Erick Strickland and 2-time Nebraska Football National Champion Clester Johnson. Talking and taking names in sports and day-to-day living. Sit back, relax, and join the show with 9-year NBA vet and Nebraska Basketball Hall of Famer Erick Strickland and 2-time Nebraska Football National Champion Clester Johnson.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You know what it is. It is another episode of WTF We Talk Facts. Thursday has come and gone, but it is now for WTF We Talk Facts. We are in the building. 6 to 7 is where you can find us right here on Thursdays. Barring that there's any, thing going on with either the Royals or either the Supernovas, this is where you will find us. This is where we'll be right here. It is another time for my boy, Clester Johnson. See, Breezy at Tresvant Street is where you can find him on Twitter. E-Strick Sticky will be here as well. E-Strick20 is where you can find me as well. Harrison Orange, what's up, man? You're in the building.
I'm doing great. I always say it. It's my Friday on Thursday, so I'm feeling good, man.
There it is. Cless, what's up, man? How are you today? Cless is remote today. He is not in studio. So, like I said, barring any issues, any problems, we will be right here. I thank you. Cless, what's going on with you?
Listen, I'm going to be back in studio next week. If, again, we don't have any barriers, I need to get that connection with my people again in studio, but feeling good. The only thing that I don't like about this time of the year is one day it could be 85, the next day it could be 55.
I've always said, Cless, outside of here in Dallas, it's some of the most schizophrenic weather that I call it weather schizophrenia, because it doesn't know what it wants to do, how it wants to do it, when it wants to do it. I mean, like, you can have the windows wide open. It'd be, like you said, 82, and then the next day it'd be 42. It's crazy. It don't know what it wants to do. But we know what we want to do here on We Talk Facts. Got a great show for you guys today. We're going to talk a little bit about Caitlin Clark hysteria and what it means to the WNBA. We're also going to talk a little bit about the USA national team who has been selected. The team has been put together. We're going to talk a little bit about that and what that means, and has the world, not just necessarily Europe, not just necessarily any other national team, but has the world caught up with the United States team and what it means for the Olympics that will be coming up this year as well. Talk a little bit about the quarterback battle that's going on down at Nebraska, and you always know what it's going to be as well. A WTF moment of the week. What is that? Are we going to laugh? Are we going to cry? We're going to talk about that as well. But let's get into it. Caitlin Clark has been drafted by the Fever. And so there's a lot of talk right now about what that means for the WNBA. It's crazy that her NIL deals were bigger than her one-year contract. They're in the signing as the top player, the number one draft pick. Her base salary will start at $76,000 in her first year, $78,000 in her second year, $85,000 in her third, and $97,000 in her fourth. Her probably Cless, her deals with endorsements will probably super exceed that. She is going to be a Nike deal. She's going to have a Nike deal for a shoe, probably have her own shoe line as well. We know that LeBron James signed for a $90 million deal when he entered in 2003. Zion signed for $75 million in 2019. We don't know what it'll be for her, but we do know that it's going to probably be lucrative. She also has State Farm, and she has other endorsements that she'll be taking on. But ultimately, 8 days after playing in the NCAA national championship game, everyone knew that she was going to be the number one pick, but there's also others that joined her in this class, i.e. What's in the LSU?
Oh, Angel Reese,
Cardosa.
Yeah, there's Becker, Paige Beckers. It was loaded this year.
It was a loaded class.
Mm-hmm.
And so not only Caitlin Clark, but those others are going to spurn a lot of interest in the WNBA. What does that mean? Don Staley even described her as one of the GOATs of the game. And, you know, something that you're seeing as well is there's a frenzy around Caitlin Clark. You know, the numbers were quite crazy when she came, when they played in the national championship game. The game against South Carolina had a viewing ratings of 18.9 million on ABC, which was huge. Iowa UConn showed up at 14.4 million, so that is a huge increase. And the regional between her and LSU in both years, the year in the national championship in 2023 was 9.9 million, and then 12 point. So it's consistently crept up. And so there's some interest from ESPN, from Amazon, from CBS, because in 2025 class, there's going to be a new TV deal that's they're seeking, that they're looking for. So they're going to need Caitlin Clark and those other ladies to continue to spurn the interest. And so the question is it going to be a breakthrough, or is it going to be a flop? And that's what a lot of people are thinking about and talking about right now.
I haven't decided if Caitlin is a polarizing figure or are people going to embrace it, because there's a lot of things going on. What we're entering is new waters, okay? Because we know that the WNBA every year there's a lot of hoopla about pay, how the women's pay, don't even compare it to the men's. And I think we kind of know why. It comes down to, sponsorships and viewership. Then what you're getting at the gate, stuff like that. There's a lot going on there. But now you got this young lady who, if you think about Tiger Woods and what he did for golf, right?
Yeah, because those numbers are starting to fall way off the map after the Tiger Woods situation has went south. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, but the increased viewership, the interest level, I mean, the number of commercials I've seen her on, and even just news coverage across all different newses, it hasn't really died down that much. But the reason why I said, is she a polarizing figure because you're starting to hear some of the veterans that's been in the WNBA. You know, you've heard Tarazi talk about, hey, listen, this ain't college, you know, and then you have the two-time MVP, you know, some of these ladies, they don't have shoe deals, they don't have endorsement deals. So are they going to embrace her, or are they going to continue to try to make things difficult for her once she get into the league? It's going to be interesting.
It's definitely going to be interesting. But one thing you can say, even right now in the onset, just take a look at this. Here's some number. The average listed ticket price for Fever games in January 1st, they were $86, and then it dropped in February 29th to $78. But once they knew, they had an idea that Caitlin Clark was probably going to jump into the WNBA, wasn't going to stay that extra year. The numbers as of March 21st, this is via Vivid Tickets, Ticket Marketplace in 2024, the data that came out on 4/12/24. March 1st, that number jumped up, Cless, to $280 per ticket. And as of April 12th, that is now $155. But on top of that, what you have is like the Aces. They're the best team in the NBA right now. Back-to-back national, back-to-back world, well, not world, but back-to-back champions in the WNBA. They had a home game that they're going to face against the Fever on July 2nd. I'm sorry. July 2nd, they have a home game against the Fever where they would usually play in their stadium that they have, but they're moving that game to T-Mobile Arena, which is a larger arena that accommodates 6,000 more people. And then also you have the effect of Caitlin Clark, where the Minnesota Lynx, where they were going to have Maya Moore's jersey retired, they decided to hold that off and have it on the night that they're hosting the Fever at the end of August. Also, the Minnesota Mercury are already promoting their first contest against the Indiana Fever as the GOAT Taurasi is going to face the Rook, Caitlin Clark. So a lot of these teams are taking advantage of this move as this movement. We know that like the effect of Caitlin Clark has been effective in that as 2 games as a senior, they drew over 55,000 fans for an exhibition that they had inside of Iowa's football stadium. We also know that their numbers were, they're sold out almost all but 2 games as a senior in Carver Hawkeye Arena. So that's a phenomenal thing for them. They need that as they're going to have their collective bargaining going to be coming in. They're going to have their TV rights that are going to be coming in. And they're going to need those numbers to show and prove so that they can account. And they've been in a $10 million deficit up to this point. So we don't know what it's going to be, Cless. But as of now, they've been a $10 million deficit in which the NBA has subsidized them in making sure that they're able to do that. So they're hoping for better travel accommodations. They're hoping for better maybe playoff bonuses. So there's things that they're hoping for that this year. And the question is going to be, are they going to be able to do it?
It's going to be interesting. I think what the Indiana Fever, they're going to have to allow her to be who she is. That's number one. They're going to have to allow her to take these 40-foot shots. She's an incredible passer, as we can see. She plays with a lot of passion. But I think if they allow her to kind of be who she is and not try to put her in a box, I think it's going to make the game exciting. And I think it's also going to maybe highlight players that we didn't know how good they were, right? She's going to start, people, I'm sure other players, other athletes, these other lady athletes, I mean, there's some that are outstanding. And I'm sure some of them are going to say, hey, you know what? This is my time to shine. This is my time to capitalize on a moment that we haven't had. There's been other great players that's come out. The Breanna Stewarts, the
Candace Parker,
Tarasis. but none of them have really kind of,
Right.
Got the kind of hype. For some reason, I think it's a perfect storm. Here you got Iowa, who only has a couple of D1, three D1 programs in Iowa, maybe four D1 programs, but really highlighted by Iowa State. It's a perfect storm because it's really it's probably more a Hawkeye State, I would say. And obviously when it comes to women's basketball, it's all about Iowa. And then she answered the bell with how good she was. She single-handedly.
It's been over 20 years. It's been over 20 years since Iowa's even raised their level to this point. So she took a program in itself and raised it to a level well beyond which Iowa's ever existed at any point.
Well, that's what I was gonna say, but you beat me to it.
Yeah, no question. And here's the thing too. Here's the thing. Sometimes people may not realize or recognize, because I can assure you that a lot of the hype when MJ was coming into the league, when LeBron popped into the league, now Zion. Listen, there are a lot of people that are waiting for their moment and opportunity to test. And look, she's going to get everybody's best shot, because it's going to be the hype against the hate. It's going to be the hype against the hate. And she's going to get everybody every night's best shot. And I guarantee you, but here's the thing I love and I think about Caitlin is she's going to put in the time and she's going to put in the work. She has at her house, she has her own basketball, gym in like a warehouse where she gets her workouts in. She's going to be putting in the time. She's going to be putting in the work. It's just going to be a matter of if all of that burden and that weight is going to be on her shoulders, if she's going to be able to carry it and what that's going to look like. And so, Austin, Harrison, what you think?
I think, it moves the needle. You're definitely right. Whether you hate her or love her, it's the same thing with LSU and Iowa. That's what moved the needle. It's like you had so many haters and so many people that appreciated the game as well. I don't think it's going to be any different than the WNBA. I think they're going to excel. I'm more worried about the college game because I'm going to be curious how are they going to elevate these other players? They have like really good spokesmen like Paige Beckers and Caitlin Clark. They're saying the right things, trying to promote these other players in the college game. But I don't have any fears with Indiana Fever, Caitlin Clark, and everybody. They're going to get a huge boost from all of this. Like Caitlin Clark's jerseys, I think it was an hour after she was drafted, every single size jersey was already out of stock. So you know what the numbers are going to be. They're going to be crazy. But the college game, that's the only spot I'm worried about having a major drop off, because like just being real here, they got a lot of new fans, but a lot of those new fans were following the Caitlin Clark and the Angel Reese and the Dawn Staley lines. Without losing some of those big chunks, they're going to have to find some new faces. And as good as the Gamecocks are, undefeated season, a lot of people are still watching that because of Iowa and Caitlin Clark. So they're going to have to figure out a way to elevate those other superstars. Because, Clester said it, there's been stars in the past, but they just weren't getting the TV time. And Caitlin Clark, you can't say is a generational talent. But, yeah, I'm more worried about the college game for the girls. This is it's still a positive, but you got to capitalize on it.
Shout.
Listen. I'm going to have to disagree with you here on that one, Harrison. What they did with the college girls game this year is they put it on at the same time as the men's. I think that was a brilliant move, because I'm going to tell you, if it would have started a week later, the viewership wouldn't have been the same. You would have had some Caitlin Clark. I think Caitlin Clark is an exception that you would have people watching that. But I was still in the mood. Like there was women's game on. I'm like, oh man, USC is on, and they have Juju
Watkins. Yeah,
they had Juju. I'm like, oh man, I get to watch Juju. I don't know if I would have did that a week later. So one of the moves that I thought was a brilliant move is they put they started the tournaments right about the same time. That was big. Now here's the thing, Harrison. The women's game, college game, has always been bigger than the WNBA. I mean, look at Brittany Griner. Like, people watch Brittany Griner in college, but I don't watch her in the WNBA, right? I watched Breonna Stewart at UConn, but I haven't watched her at the WNBA. So I think the college game does a better job because you have a connection with fans, right? You have fan connections. People love Iowa, but do people love the Fever? Like, I don't know. I don't know.
Right.
People love UConn, but do they love, the UConn women's WNBA team? I don't know if they love it the same. You got Gino Auriemma. You got legendary coaches also that we watch.
Don Staley.
Don Staley. Who's LSU's coach?
Mulkey.
I mean, Kim Mulkey is like she
doesn't get used. I'll say that. She
can come across like a villain, and I think people watch that too. You watch her interviews. It just, we don't get to see the same thing in the WNBA as you do in college. So I think the college women's game, it may dip a little bit, but we are still very interested. I'm more interested in the women's college game than I am WNBA.
Well, one thing I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about this real quick, but this is a transitional conversation because bettors they already seem to be following Caitlin Clark to the pros. A FanDuel said that 70%, FanDuel now said, and look, this is a caveat, this is a transition, just follow me. 70% of 2024 WNBA MVP bets as of April the 10th have been placed on a future for the Fever guard, which is crazy in itself. That's crazy.
Do you have the odds on it? What they were?
Yeah, they didn't shoot the odds out, but but it's crazy to think about. But in that transition, here's where I want to go. Jonte Porter has literally been banned for life for what's going on right now in the NBA, and it deals with this FanDuel situation. It deals with the betting. Where's the betting situations right now within the NBA? Are there more people that have done such a thing? What's your initial take on the Jonte Murray situation? Because I think it's crazy. Young man is a journeyman. He's making about $445,000 a year. He's the brother of Denver forward Michael Porter Jr. And this scandal then comes and rocks the NBA in a similar manner because the NBA right now is on the verge of another TV deal. This scandal rocks them. How does it affect the NBA going forth with everything going on right now? You have young talent that you're trying to promote. Then you have the old guard on the way out the door. And here we find ourselves in a situation which we'll talk in the next segment about the USA team. But what is your initial take on this Jonte Moore situation and how it affects the NBA going forward?
Jonte Porter.
Jonte Porter, yeah.
I will never for the life of me understand professionals who bet on their game, especially when you're making the kind of money that they make. That is just, for some people, it's a disease. It's just a disease. Some guys, they just get caught up and they don't know how to control themselves. Some people have these impulses where they have to bet that money. We saw just this past season a few college players get in trouble for betting on themselves and betting on teams. I don't think he's going to be the last one to fall, Eric. I'm going to say that. I think when they do more research, they're going to be able to find a few other guys who bet. And you know how it is in the locker room with the fellas. They can get, tonk, spades, dice. Sometimes guys like to bet.
Boo-ray.
That too.
Boo-ray.
But with the FanDuel, I mean that takes it to a whole nother level. It gives you like a paper trail.
It's different now, Cliff. Like just think about this whole thing. Like Harrison, let me quick school you on the old school.
All right.
This would have been harder to track if you go back to our time class, because the betting game used to go through a bookie.
Mm-hmm.
Where it used to be on paper. Like you used to write the numbers, put the thing on paper. You probably wasn't even given a name. You probably was given a number. And unless you caught the bookie with the book, with the book, the black book. Now, I'm not talking about phone numbers with the honeys in it. I'm talking about phone numbers with the monies in it. Unless you caught them with the book, you might not have got caught. But now with organizations like FanDuel, there's anomalies that show. There's some red flags that wait a minute.
Let me add one more thing that you left out on that on the book. You could come up missing, Harrison, if you don't pay your debts. Right? You can come up missing. That's not.
You end up being like Jimmy Hoffa. You might beat Jimmy Hoffa and disappear and never to be seen again. Head up, talk.
Yeah, it's tougher this day with technology. Like I said, he's the first one to fall, and what might be happening now is some guys might just tell on themselves. Like the best thing to do is call the commissioner up. Hey, listen, commish, I full disclosure, I want to let you know, maybe they may, just by telling on themselves, maybe they get just a suspension, or maybe a half a year suspension. But what I heard about him, this is not the first time he's been caught. Yeah.
Harrison, before we go to break, anything else on that topic?
I agree with Kless. You might as well, if you're getting caught, you might as well come up front. It is weird to me. We are in this place now where you go on ESPN everywhere watching any sports. They just throw sports betting in your face over and over and over again. And with how much they promote sports betting, if you're one of those players that get caught by it, you might as well just come up front and hey, I saw one of your fancy ads and I got hooked into it. But it is in a weird spot because I do think some of these places got to make up their mind how much they're going to promote sports betting, but at the same time, crack down on the players that they're making the money off of through sports betting. So it's kind of one of those things where I also think places like ESPN, FanDuel, they got to get their act together too with how much they promote that stuff.
And that's the thing before we go to break is you have to think about, because the NBA has basically cozied up to the sports betting groups, because that's where the moolah's at, right? So the moolah, the ESPNs, the Foxes, the TNTs, the groups where they used to be able to go and secure the bag for their next deals with the viewership on a downslide, they've cozied up to the betting, the FanDuels, they've cozied up to the DraftKings, and that's where they're kind of getting a lot of their money. This is where that partnership has now existed. And so is there more to come? Is there more to fall? Is it still not over? And that's what we're going to find out, because it is so tempting. That is one thing about it. It's so tempting. It seems so easy. Throw a couple grand to your buddy, let him bet. You go on the under, you go on the over. But I know a couple people that got busted by this game back in the day. And I even wondered, did you at UNLV get in on the game back in the day when they lost to Duke? Everybody had the money on UNLV, and Duke comes up big. I don't know. It might have been suspect. Might have been a little Vegas money in on that deal. We ain't going to talk. That's allegedly. I don't know for sure, but we're going to come back right now after this. We're going to talk a little bit more about the USA team and has the foreign players and the other teams in the national, in the world, have they caught up with USA basketball? We'll be right back. WTF.
Rashawn Jackson here for Bauer Infrastructure, a veteran-owned local company proudly serving Lincoln, Lancaster County, and the surrounding areas. Bauer provides quality work at an affordable price, and they're growing rapidly. If you want to experience a career with a fast-paced, family-friendly environment, visit BauerInfrastructure.com. They have top-of-the-line benefits, year-round work, even through the winter. Bauer, usher in the new era of infrastructure to an area near you. And as always, go Big Red.
When we're looking out for a homeowner, we're always keeping their budget in mind. We try to maximize things that are important to them.
Bob Benish is the founder and president of Aspen Builders, online at aspenbuildersinc.com.
So we really try to maximize the size because 5 years from now, you can't just make your house bigger. The one thing I can tell you is that most builders in Lincoln, we all are about the same price. The difference comes in the products that we put in and the way we put in those products. The old saying, you get what you pay for, is pretty accurate when you're building a home. If you put nicer windows in and you put nicer cabinets, it's going to cost a little bit more. You know, if those things are important to you, then you want to do it. We can try to incorporate in your floor plan and get a house that you're going to be happy with.
Make your dream home a reality and call Aspen Builders at 423-6811. Online at aspenbuildersinc.com. Your home is waiting at Aspen Builders.
The Omaha Supernovas are back in action this Saturday, April 20th versus the San Diego Mojo at CHI Health Center in Omaha. The Mullen Motors pregame show with Derek Pearson and Renee Saunders starts at 5 p.m. with first serve at 6. Make sure to tune in to the Next Ag Appraisal and Realty postgame show right after the match ends. Catch all the action on your flagship station, 93.7 The Ticket, and statewide on the Supernovas Radio Network. Spring is here. It's time to get back outside and into proper shoes this year. Brown Shoe Fit is the place to buy this spring with their sale on athletic shoes. Get $15 off any regular price athletic shoes with respected brands like Hoka, Brooks, New Balance, and On Running. And don't forget, Browns carries a large arrangement of sizes and widths to fit your feet properly. Start your spring off right at Brown Shoe Fit, just south of 66th and Q in Lincoln. Are you looking to get into the electrical construction industry or wanting a new scene? The electrical workers of Local Union 265 are now hiring licensed journeymen and apprentices and are offering great pay and benefits. Call Mike at 402-875-1034 to apply. Start your electrical career today.
Not many businesses can say they've made it 60 years, but Madsen's Bowling and Billiards can. With 12 bowling lanes and the biggest pool room in Nebraska, where else would you go to enjoy an afternoon or evening? There's a great daily specials like $2 Tuesdays, games of bowling, shoe rentals, draft beers, and tacos, all just $2 each. Have a delicious burger at EJ's Lounge before or after your bowling or pool session, and you'll leave satisfied. Madsen's Bowling and Billiards at 47th and Dudley.
Hey guys, it's Bill Bush. Next Ag Appraisal and Realty has opened a new location in Pender, Nebraska, in addition to their office in Lincoln. The real estate world can be confusing, so why wouldn't you want an expert helping you every step of the way? If you're looking to buy or sell farmland in Nebraska, Kansas, or Iowa, give Ethan Sorensen a call today at 402-380-0432 or visit them online at nextagrealestate.com. Next Ag Appraisal and Realty with locations in Lincoln and now Pender, Nebraska.
Grab a free burger and beer at Elway Power Sports of Lincoln on April 27th during their Husker Spring Game tailgate. Meet the Elway Power Sports team, play some tailgate games with them, and enter for a chance to win an official John Elway autographed football. Check out their huge selection of boats and watercraft for the summer, along with hundreds of motorcycles, ATVs, and side-by-sides from all the major brands. Stop out and watch the game with them on April 27th. Elway Power Sports of Lincoln, 27th and I-80. They'll be tailgating all day.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Your Lincoln forecast for today, we'll see a chance of showers this morning, then partly sunny skies this afternoon. It will be breezy too with the high around 58. Tonight we'll see increasing clouds and the low around 35. And tomorrow mainly cloudy skies expected with an afternoon high around 59. I'm meteorologist Kyle Bucker for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Back to We Talk Facts on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Here are your hosts, Strick and Clester.
We're back on WTF, We Talk Facts. Strick, Harrison Arns, and my friend, your friend, C. Breezy, Clester Johnson joining us as well remotely. But we had a great conversation about Caitlin Clark and her arrival in the WNBA and what that means. But now we're going to touch on USA Basketball. The USA Basketball team was announced, and on the team, it's going to be Bam Adebayo, Devin Booker, Steph Curry, Anthony Davis, Kevin Durant, Anthony Edwards, Joel Embiid, Tyrese Halliburton, Drew Holiday, LeBron James, Kawhi Leonard, and Jason Tatum. That is your USA basketball team. The first question, because I want to dig a little bit deep on this, I'm going to dig a little bit deep because I want to go into what is the state of not only the NBA, but USA basketball, and did they make a mistake? I'm going to talk about that a little bit later, but first and foremost, I want to address this question. Clester Johnson, tell me this. Has the world caught up with USA basketball? Yes, they were able to pull it off in the World Championships. They won. It was a tight game, but they were able to pull it off. But has the world caught up with them at this point? Has the likes of Wembanyama, as Jokic, and some of the best players in the NBA at this day happen to be foreign? Canada is probably gonna challenge a little bit. They've got Shea, Gilgeous-Alexander,
Jamal Murray,
Dwight
Powell's on that roster as well.
Yes. Listen, it's not the same out here. There's a little bit of talent. Australia used to give them a run back in the day, with your Patty Mills type, and some that are just kind of because the European style of game is a little bit different. It's more teams, more physical. And when I look at this USA team, are they ready for what the world is going to pose to them in the upcoming Olympics?
This is a very, very good to great conversation, in that one good thing about being old or getting older, you get to see how life changes, right? And I just remember that first time when the world and USA decided that it was okay to use professionals in the Olympics. And because it used to be college players, it used to be considered like an amateur deal, and they still would win with college players, right? Today's time, there's no way the college players would have a shot to win. And that's right there, Eric, is how you can tell the world has caught up. College players used to be able to beat the professionals from overseas. But when that dream team, the dream team was a gift and a curse, right? The dream team said, people knew at that point in time, okay, if we want to take this serious, we got to step our game up. And let me read off just a couple of statistics, if I may. In 2020, and this is the latest statistics that I can get. I'm sure it's probably about the same. In 2020, 21.8% of NBA players were classed as international players. I mean, that's a big number. In 2017, it was at 25%. So it's been somewhere between, since 2014 to 2020, it has been over 20%. So we know right now it's over 20%. Let me give you one other thing. NBA rosters feature a record 125 international players from 40 countries. Okay. It was not like that back in the day. It wasn't even close. I mean, we used to know the whole rosters and where they came from. Okay. Now here's the most chilling thing, and I'm going to turn it over to you, E. When they look at the top two prospects in this year's draft, Alexandre Sir from France at 7-1, and number 2 is Zachariah Rashira from where is he from? I gotta find out.
The one that they're worried about is Wembanyama's brother on the way soon. They saying he like that.
All I'm saying is, I never would have imagined that when you look at the top 5 projected players, none of them are American. One is, I want to say he's from Kentucky. His name came up. But there's a lot of foreign guys that I mean, it's going to be interesting to see what the NBA is going to look like here in the next, 10 to 15 years. I mean, it could get as high as 50%. I can see it getting up to 50%. Half the NBA will be foreign players.
Here's something to think about, right? Sometimes what you have, like, for example, let's just use Golden State for a little quick reference. But this can happen in anything, right? You can have such a good thing going, and you've rolled those coattails for so long. I.e., Saban, the Golden State Warriors, the run that they had with Steph Curry, with Klay Thompson, with Draymond, and then you don't do what you probably should do a little bit earlier. You're the Milwaukee Bucks. You probably should have made a little bit of move, but you were making a good run, so you held on to Middleton. You held on to Lopez. You didn't do what like Oklahoma City did, which they have a treasure trove of not only talent, young talent, but draft picks.
They had the second pick 2 years ago, second overall pick, number 1 in the West. Like, that's insane.
Right? They've got 2 draft picks in the first round this year with 2 second
number 1 seed.
It's crazy. There's so many ways that they can go, and there's a lot of teams that miss their mark. And one of those, I would say, is like Golden State. This is why. What was the GM's name?
For the
Golden State.
Oh, Golden State Warriors.
Oh,
You're
gosh.
testing me now.
Gosh.
It'll come to me. I'm not going to look it up. Give me.
Man. My mind just drew a blank. But here's what I'm saying. He left because he knew there was a decision that was going to have to make. And the decision was passed on to Dunleavy Jr. They didn't do what they should have probably did. They kept the team, which left them just barely making the play-in game.
It was Robert Michael Myers was the previous GM, 2011, 2023.
Yeah. So here's the issue. Now you have the USA team. You're blessed to get Embiid because he's really not from the United States, but now he's a citizen and he's able to participate as on the USA team. But here's where I'm going. I think you're missing something because the NBA needs to go to another level. You have the old guard that has now gotten older. So what you have is the LeBron James, which the NBA has relied on names instead of rivals. You have ran the course with your Kevin Durant's, with your Steph Curry's, with your Anthony Davis, with your LeBron James. Now Kawhi's getting there. He's almost about, but you don't have that young talent. You have Anthony Edwards. He's on the verge. You have, Devin Booker, who they haven't really emerged to that next level. And the same you also have with an up-and-coming Jason Tatum, which has not fully emerged into that level because he hasn't taken Boston over the hump yet.
They need to promote Gilchrist a little bit more.
Well, even right now, I think you needed to have Jalen Brunson. You need to find a way. You need to find a way to raise the barrier and the bar of a balance of the names with the rivalries again. Because where did the NBA thrive, class? The NBA thrived, yes, it was with Michael Jordan, but it was still the rivalries. So it was a balance of the names. So you had teams like Michael Jordan. You had teams like Detroit. Yes, we know Isaiah Thomas was that guy on the team, but you had Mark Aguirre. You had Dennis Rodman. You had Lane Beer. You had Dumars.
Isaiah
and then
Thomas,
you had a guy off the bench, which Vinny the microwave. So you had still Isaiah as the lead, but you still had a team concept. You had the Knicks with Ewing. You knew Ewing was the guy. But then you had Mark Jackson. Then you had Anthony Mason. And you had, just a nice, Derek Harper. And you had a combination of guys on that team. But there was a rivalry that existed. A rivalry between them and Mourning down in Miami with Hardaway and those groups. Then you had a rivalry with Indiana, you knew Reggie Miller was a guy, but then you still had Smiths and you had Deadlift Shrimp. But it was the rivalries with a combination of the names that was created the interest in the NBA. And you even go out to the Lake Show, you knew Magic was the guy, but you had Kareem, you had Worthy, you had Michael Cooper. You knew those guys and the rivalries with Boston. I can even tell you Boston, you knew Bird was the guy. You knew the name, but then you had McHale. You had the Chief. You had Ainge off the bench. And there was the rivalries between them and New York and them and Chicago and them and Boston, which created the interest, but I think it's been lost, and they haven't been able to recreate that because you've been so caught up in the names as opposed to the rivalries. Sorry, I didn't mean to go long on that, but I wanted to throw that
out. The issue today, is a few things. In my opinion, these guys are making generational wealth, and they're friends. Okay, these guys are friends. There's lots of guys that are friends. After games are over, or in the summertime, they're hanging out. They're doing podcasts together. They're traveling together. They're working out together. Not to say that the old school guys didn't do it, because I heard about legendary games where Michael Jordan on the set of Space Jam, he would invite a bunch of guys out. But here's the thing. When season started, he was trying to kill you, right? And there's only one guy that stands out in the NBA who is a bad boy. Y'all know who that is.
Ja Measy.
Who?
Ja Measy. Ja Morant.
No, come on.
One bad boy?
There's one bad boy in the NBA. It's one guy who has issues. He's getting suspended.
Oh, Draymond Green.
Draymond Green.
he's a LeBron fanboy.
But all I'm saying is Draymond has a reputation almost kind of like a Dennis Rodman or a Bill Laimbeer
or Rasheed Wallace. Mm-hmm.
You know, there's not a lot of those guys in the NBA anymore. Everybody's friendly.
You can throw Dylan Brooks in that mean guy. He gets he's pretty aggressive.
I just think that there needs to be the balance is off, Eric. I love what you're saying. I love everything you're saying. I was feeling everything you're saying. The balance is off. There's no rivalries anymore. Everybody's friendly. It's become a very friendly league. I mean, I don't know if it's good or it's bad, but I'm gonna tell you what, it has, I feel, taken away some of the competitiveness.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just don't know if you can. I don't know if you can get that back. I just really don't. I don't know.
Yeah, because they haven't done a good job. They haven't done a good job of creating it, and this is where I think they missed it. Because if you're going to stay with that format, then you have to raise up the next generation. Because you've waited too long, just like some teams. You're still relying on Steph, who's barely making it. LeBron, who's barely making it. LeBron and them have to be propped up just to make it. With AD, LeBron, and that crew down the lake, they have to have a differential of more than the combined second, third, and fourth people with free throw. They have a mark that those combined that shoot free throws in the second, third, and fourth, they have a combined ratio of them better. So they had to prop the Lakers up just to get them in. They wouldn't, without that help, they don't get in, right? And that's a problem because you haven't raised up that next generation. You tried to do it with John Morant. He that situation faltered him. You wanted to do it with Zion, but then that situation faltered him with injuries and then weight. And
John Morant want to pew.
Yeah. So you missing it, and the light skinned Warriors are not able to kind of take you over the hump. The Tatums and the Devin Bookers. So they don't have a place to go right now. There's no one to take the reins.
The only competitive basketball we're gonna see, Eric, honestly, is in the Olympics and in the World Championships, because it's like our country against your country, right? It gets serious, and then people actually care. Like when America loses a game, I mean, ESPN and all the, Fox, they're going off. They're going off. Like, what's wrong with USA basketball, right? People care during that time. But in the NBA, they don't
Not
care.
the same type of care.
It ain't
There
the same.
it is. Great stuff. 402-464-5685. You want to get in, maybe drop a question on us. Also on the stream, you can do so. But we've got to take a quick break because we have a WTF moment of the week coming up. We'll get back to that. WTF, We Talk Facts. We'll be right back after this.
When you're high, you feel different. You think different, you talk different, you draw different, you listen to music different, but you probably knew that. Problem is, you also drive different, and not in a good way. That's why driving high is illegal everywhere. So if you're high, just don't drive. Make a plan to get a sober ride. Because if you feel different, you drive different. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Hey, it's me, your cell phone. We need to talk about something serious. I know you love me. I know you like using me wherever you are, but I feel like this isn't working out when you're driving. I know you may think that it's possible to focus both on me and the road, but I just don't feel the same way. I think we should spend time away from each other when you're driving. It's for the best.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org, a message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
I think it's just vapor. Vaping is safer than smoking, isn't it?
There's really not even that much nicotine in them, right?
One vape pod has as much nicotine as one pack of cigarettes.
My kid
knows it's dangerous. 5.4 million American kids vape, and most think it's harmless. Get your head out of the cloud. Talk to your kid about vaping. Visit talkaboutvaping.org. That's talkaboutvaping.org. Brought to you by the American Lung Association and the Ad Council.
This is your captain. We are going to be experiencing some slight turbulence. Please fasten your... Oh, hold on. Just got a video of my cat.
Imagine the pilot of an airplane was as confident as you are texting and driving. Seems kind of crazy when you put it like that.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org, a message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
A team succeeds when they work together. Banking's no different. At UBT, we're in your corner for every financial move you want to make. Your money's backed by a roster of experts who put in the work to know you and your community. So whether you're opening a savings account, buying a home, or planning your future, you always know who to turn to. Working together toward your financial goals. That's a win in our playbook. Union Bank and Trust. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
Finally, a good reason to have a smart house. Just say, Alexa, play 93.7 The Ticket, and we'll magically start playing. How's it work? Nobody knows. Don't ask questions.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Coppell Chevrolet GMC, and our annual spring sales event is now underway. We have absolutely huge savings right now at Coppell. New Sierras and new Silverados have a double whammy. Choose from APR starting at 1.9% or discounts over $9,000. Yes, that's right, 1.9% APR or discounts of over $9,000. So please take that short money-saving drive down 144th Street just south of the interstate, or check us out online at CoppellCars.com. You'll be glad you did. All deals with approved credit.
Back to We Talk Facts on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Here are your hosts, Strick and Clester.
There it is. We're back. WTF. Always here, 6 to 7. Always, except if the doggone, Royals are playing or the Supernovas have a game and they're winding down. They're coming to a close. So we're most likely to be here.
You'll be live next week. No Royal or no Supernovas on Thursday next week. So you guys will be ready to go here.
You'll see Clester and I both in studio. But right now, at this moment in time, we have a WTF moment of the week. What is it? Oh,
I'll give you guys some options here. And if we have time, maybe we can play both of them. But I'll give you a whining Trae Young or B, a creepy reporter question for Caitlin Clark's introductory press conference. Which one of those sounds appealing? Clester Johnson.
Break it. Yeah, break it.
Let's go with the. Let's see what they're doing to Caitlin Clark. I'd like to hear that.
I was hoping you'd pick this one. All right, so here is this is Caitlin Clark's introductory press conference. And just for some context, because we have people on the FM airwaves, she'll put up the heart to her family and friends in the stands. The reporter had some questions about it.
First row on the right there for Greg.
Hi, Caitlin. Greg Doyle, Indy Star. Real quick, let me do this.
You like that?
I like that you're here. I like
Yeah,
that you're here.
I do that at my family after every game, so.
Okay,
it's
well,
pretty
let's
cool.
start doing it to me and we'll get along just fine. So, question.
Pause.
Pause. He held up the heart to her, and that's what he said at the very beginning.
Wait a minute.
But
Stop
creepy.
doing it. What? Pause. Cless? That was a pause moment. What's going on here?
I think Caitlin has, she has groupies already, obviously he's a fan, he's a reporter, and he's a groupie. Obviously I think he's doing that in good fun.
Mm-hmm.
I even see this kind of stuff at the Super Bowl. It reminded me of the Super Bowl when they let all this different media in, and you'll see these girls they come in with these credentials and they're proposing to Tom Brady and asking dumb questions to Deion Sanders. And so that's kind of what it reminded me of.
There it is. Couple questions on this Sauter Heyman text line. Mississippi Mud Dog says, I was a Kobe fan growing up. Every game seemed like he was going to kill someone, basically. Competitive every single second. Now it's like these dudes don't care. They got their money and they're all cool just being there. Zero pride or drive to win, just content. Hard to tune in for that. I watch more college basketball these days. Also, Kip shouts out on the Sauter Heyman text line and says, guys just ain't banging in the paint like they used to. I have to agree with him on that. Thank you guys for texting in. And 87 unnamed Tector 57 talks about the Shohei Ohtani situation since we were talking about betting. Thank you guys for chiming in on the text line as well. But that's a crazy moment right there. That was a pause moment for me.
And that's a long time media member too. So I don't think he was trying to be weird. I think if he would have, thought about it, in hindsight being 2020, he probably regrets it. I think he even put out an apology, realizing like that came off really creepy.
Yeah.
But yeah, just not a great start.
It sounds like he's one of the guys that's sitting out in the bushes waiting, for her to come home, and he pops out. Yeah, that was a creepy moment for a moment of the week. But we thank you guys once again. Always, we appreciate you. And as Clester did, he threw it up. I throw the heart up as well. We love you. We appreciate you. We're grateful for you. And know this, WTF, in the building next week, Thursday, 6 to 7. Come back. See what the moment of the week is going to be. We see y'all next week. Out of here.